In a rapidly evolving geopolitical landscape, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has expressed his intention to engage in direct talks with the Lebanese government. This development comes amidst ongoing debates about the inclusion of the Iranian-backed militia group Hezbollah in a ceasefire agreement reportedly brokered between Washington and Tehran. Netanyahu has made it clear that although he has not agreed to a suspension of hostilities in Lebanon, he is open to negotiating an agreement that would lead to the disarmament of Hezbollah. The situation in Lebanon remains dire, with the health ministry reporting that 300 individuals were killed in Israeli airstrikes in a single day. Meanwhile, Iranian state television has aired a statement attributed to the country's new supreme leader, warning of consequences for United States and Israeli military actions. The escalating violence has brought fresh suffering to the people of Beirut as Israel intensifies its military operation. Cautioning residents in the southern suburbs to evacuate while targeting what it describes as Hezbollah's military infrastructure. The ceasefire status is contentious as both Israel and the U.S. assert that Lebanon was never part of the agreement. Contrastingly, Iran and Pakistan, who played a significant role in brokering the deal, maintain that it is. Netanyahu's recent shift in rhetoric suggests a potential diplomatic opening, as he stated, following repeated approaches by the Lebanese government to open peace negotiations with us. I instructed the cabinet last night to begin direct negotiations with Lebanon in order to achieve two objectives. First, the disarmament of Hezbollah, and secondly, a historic, sustainable peace agreement between Israel and Lebanon. Asking, amid these complex dynamics, Washington has reportedly requested Israel to reduce its military operations to allow for progress in upcoming talks in Islamabad. However, several critical issues remain unresolved, including Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz, which is not fully operational. Iran is now determined to consolidate its management of this crucial maritime passage, asserting its territorial rights over the strait. Iranian officials have stated that the Strait of Hormuz is within their territorial waters shared with Oman, and emphasized that the current passage allowances are due to Iranian and Omani goodwill. In Mumbai, a tanker carrying liquefied petroleum gas recently arrived after navigating the strait, yet Iran now requires vessels to follow new routes to avoid mines. The Prime Minister continues his diplomatic tour, urging Gulf allies to oppose Iran's potential control over the Strait of Hormuz. Several nations, including Britain, are actively seeking a diplomatic resolution. Meanwhile, Islamabad prepares for the crucial weekend talks, with Pakistan expressing optimism for a breakthrough. A Pakistani official noted, "I was not there 38 days ago. Pakistan and our leadership has played a very key role in bringing about this desire." So you have this desire. I'm very hopeful this will reach fruition into something concrete. In Tehran, commemorations are underway to mark 40 days since the assassination of Iran's former supreme leader. The image of his son and successor prominently displayed across the city, though he has yet to make a public appearance. A recent statement purportedly from the new leader was read on state TV, demanding compensation for families of those killed and asserting control over the Strait of Hormuz. Iran says it's ready for talks, but there's no sign yet of what concessions, if any, it's prepared to make, a report highlighted. As the international community grapples with these tensions, the human cost of the conflict is becoming increasingly apparent. Human rights organizations estimate that approximately 254 Iranian children have been killed since the commencement of the U.S. and Israeli bombing campaigns. The Iranian regime is also reportedly recruiting children as young as 12 into a militia operated by the Revolutionary Guards. With over 20% of Iran's population under the age of 14, this translates to around 20.4 million children potentially affected. The BBC, relying on trusted sources within Iran, has gathered testimonies from children and their parents about the war's impact on the young. In one poignant account, a teenager named Ali described his experiences, "Before the war, I had no stress at all. But now even the smallest sound causes my brain to react very badly. The sound of explosions, the shock waves, and the sound of fighter jets flying over the city can have a very serious effect on the mind. I should be able to study, to work, and become an independent person in the future, not to be constantly worrying about politics, living in stress, thinking about bombs falling, and endless fears." Despite the regime's imposition of an internet blackout, testimonies continue to emerge, Abo. The war's youngest victims and those striving to assist them. Reports indicate a rise in sleep disturbances, nightmares, reduced concentration, and even aggressive behavior among children. One parent lamented, "When you struggle so much to raise a child only for that child to then be killed, whether in protest or in war like this, I believe no parent would be willing to bring a child into the world." As the geopolitical dynamics in the Middle East continue to shift, the recent developments involving Israel, Lebanon, and the broader regional players paint a complex picture. At the center of this is Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has publicly expressed interest in initiating direct negotiations with Lebanon. This announcement comes against the backdrop of a contentious debate over the status of the Iranian-backed militia group Hezbollah within a supposed ceasefire deal brokered by Washington and Tehran. The humanitarian toll in Lebanon is severe, with the country's Health Ministry reporting that 300 people were killed in Israeli airstrikes in a single day. These attacks have intensified the plight of Beirut's residents, particularly in the city's southern suburbs, where Israel has issued evacuation warnings. The stated objective of these operations is to dismantle Hezbollah's military infrastructure, a group Israel views as a significant threat. While there is a reported ceasefire between the United States and Iran, its scope remains disputed. Israel and the United States both contend that Lebanon is not included in this agreement. Conversely, Iran and Pakistan, who played pivotal roles in brokering the deal, argue that Lebanon is indeed part of the ceasefire. Despite these disagreements, Netanyahu's recent comments suggest a potential diplomatic opening. He stated, "Following repeated approaches by the Lebanese government to open peace negotiations with us, I instructed the cabinet last night to begin direct negotiations with Lebanon in order to achieve two objectives. First, the disarmament of Hezbollah, and secondly, a historic, sustainable peace agreement between Israel and Lebanon." In response to these developments, Washington has reportedly asked Israel to scale back its military operations to facilitate progress in the upcoming diplomatic talks scheduled for Islamabad. However, there are numerous unresolved issues, such as Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz, a critical maritime choke point for global oil shipments. Iran has asserted its dominion over the strategic waterway, with the new routes being enforced to avoid mines. This has created a bottleneck for international shipping, leading to a sharp increase in oil prices. The global economic implications of this crisis are significant. The uncertainty over the ceasefire and restricted access to the Strait of Hormuz has caused oil prices to fluctuate dramatically. Initially, a ceasefire announcement led to a 15% drop in oil prices, the largest one-day decline in 5 years, but prices have since rebounded as the situation remains unresolved. The blockade has resulted in only a handful of Iran-friendly vessels navigating the strait, compared to the usual daily traffic of around 140 ships. This has further strained global supply chains and inflated fuel costs, impacting everything from consumer goods to air travel. Amid these tensions, Iran remains defiant. The country's new supreme leader has issued a statement demanding compensation for families affected by U.S. and Israeli military actions and asserting control over the Strait of Hormuz. Domestically, Iran continues to grapple with the social and humanitarian costs of the conflict. Reports indicate that children as young as 12 are being recruited into militias by the Iranian Revolutionary Guards, a move that human rights organizations have condemned. The psychological impact on young Iranians is profound, with widespread reports of trauma and fear among the youth. This multifaceted crisis underscores the delicate balance of power in the region. While diplomatic efforts are underway, the path to a lasting peace remains fraught with challenges. The potential for a broader conflict looms large as regional powers continue to vie for influence and control. As the situation unfolds, the international community watches closely, hopeful for a resolution, but wary of the potential for further escalation.